Hey everybody, for those of you who are picking up Street Fighter V and picking up Ed, who just dropped with the recent patch, one of the things that you're going to notice is that Ed is kind of unique in that all of his special moves are button combinations. So 2 punches, 2 kicks, towards plus medium punch, hold heavy punch. But the thing that also makes him unique is that he has a button mashing special move. That right there, the Psycho Flicker. Now, Chun-Li and Colleen also have these moves, but they could all be done with quarter circle forward motions. Chun-Li quarter circle forward plus kick, and Colleen quarter circle forward plus punch. So you've never really had to learn any sort of the button tap special move kind of things that are required for Ed to do Psycho Flicker. Now, the question is, why is this so important? Why is this something that you have to learn for Ed? Well, if you actually look at Ed's frame data, the Psycho Flicker is -3 on block, which means that it is actually a very, very good, it's a very good attack for ranges where a lot of characters can't even punish you, and characters who have no 3-frame moves can't even punish you at all. So it's actually kind of a decent way to get some chip, for example. So at this range, a lot of the 3-frame buttons won't actually hit me. So you're going to want to have to learn how to do Psycho Flicker combos because they're very important. But having no background in it, and because the game just teaches you to hit, punch very rapidly, that's how you're going to have to learn it. And there are much better ways to do the Psycho Flicker. So here we go. Let's start talking about these button tap special moves first, just so you have a strong understanding of how to perform them and what the game is actually looking for. Number one, it takes 5 punch inputs to actually do this. So watch the left side of the screen there. If I jump, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I come out with it. If I do 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, nothing. If I do 3, 1, 2, 3, nothing. But it has to be 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. And then you get the Psycho Flicker, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. So there has to be 5 inputs for button mash special moves, for rapid fire special moves. The other thing to note, however, and this was introduced in later Street Fighter games, starting in CVS 2, I believe it was, the first game that actually allowed you to do this. But it actually turns out it doesn't matter which punch button you use. You can use any punch button in any combination, and as long as you do 5 of them, you get a Psycho Flicker. So for example, I could do light punch, medium punch, heavy punch, light punch, heavy punch, right? So you can see on the side of the screen on the left there, you see blue, yellow, red, blue, red. So I just used all the different buttons. This is what's known as pianoing. To get the hand slap moves out like that, and that is going to be pretty much the crux of how to do all of these Psycho Flicker combos. You're going to want to have to learn to use all the different buttons, and that allows you to do this. Now, as you can see, I've got a joystick here, so what I'm actually going to show everybody how to do this on a joystick and on a pad. Now, the reason why I feel like that this is also necessary to talk about is that Ed has this special move, which is 2 punches. And in this game, if you hit 2 buttons in a row too quickly, even though you hit them 2 frames, you hit them a single frame apart, you'll notice that on the left side of the screen you see blue plus blue yellow, but I came out with the Psycho Upper instead. So in a lot of situations when you're actually trying to do the Psycho Flicker, if you do it too fast, you end up with the Psycho Upper instead. So this is a huge problem for people trying to learn how to do Ed's Psycho Flicker combos. Even if you are used to it, even if you know how to do these combos, you've done these before in CVS 2 and such, you're still going to have problems because of that. And so what this tutorial is going to do is help you, one, learn how to do those rapid fire button special moves, as well as helping you to avoid accidentally getting Psycho Upper. Now, another thing that's very, very important to note about Ed and this is actually very, very helpful, is that all 5 versions of Psycho Flicker, there's the light punch one, medium punch one, and heavy punch one, like that. They're all the exact same move. So the 5th button is the one that triggers it. So if I do the piano method again, the heavy punch, the red punch you see on the left, is the button that triggered it. However, in other games and for other characters, it mattered which one you did. For example, Honda in Street Fighter 4, the heavy punch hand slap would make him travel the furthest forward. But for Ed, all 3 of them are the same. So it doesn't matter what button you end up on, which button you use to trigger the Psycho Flicker. It's all going to be the same. So that's what makes it really, really good. Because now that just lowers a lot of requirements. Now you don't have to worry about ending on certain buttons, and that makes things easier. Alright, so the question now is, what is it that I need to learn with the Psycho Flicker combos, right? So the main things really come down to is you have to learn how to cancel light attacks into Psycho Flicker. You need to learn how to cancel medium attacks into Psycho Flicker. You need to learn how to cancel heavy attacks into Psycho Flicker. Like so. And so what you want to do is what you want to learn is how to do that, because all 3 of them are going to be useful in some form or another. Some of them are going to be more practical than others, but it's good to learn how to do all of them. One of the main tricks of learning how to do combos into hand slap moves is understanding that the first button press that you do can be the button that you use to start all 5 button presses for the hand slap move. So for example, if I want to cancel crouching heavy punch into hand slap, I don't have to hit crouching heavy punch and then input 5 punches. The first crouching heavy punch actually counts as the first one. So after you hit crouching heavy punch, it's actually only 4 buttons required afterwards. So you actually don't have to worry about hitting the button that many times. If you blend the button that you're canceling into the hand slap, that allows you to shorten your efforts considerably. So for example, if I do crouching heavy punch, I only need to hit 4 more buttons, 4 more punches to get it to come out. Like that. So all I did was do crouching heavy punch right here, and then I did medium, light, and that's how I came out with it. I only need to hit it 4 more times, and that's how you get the cancel from a punch into a Psycho Flicker. Now, there is some strategy involved to doing kicks into Psycho Flicker, but that is very advanced, and I will do that. I will show you guys how to do that at the end of the video. Let's start with canceling heavy punches, because heavy is the easiest, right? Because the thing about heavy is, if you notice, when you punch him, in that frame right there, when you punch him, there's a little bit of hit stop. So when a move connects, the game freezes a little bit. Now, during that freeze, you can finish inputting all 5 button presses for the Psycho Flicker, and it'll still come out. So, in other words, you don't have to do it as fast. Like, normally when you cancel into special moves, you hit it right away. Like that, you know, if, for example, if you wanted to do that. However, because of the hit stop on heavy punches are so long, you actually don't even have to be that fast. You can actually do this pretty slowly, interestingly enough. So if you watch my hands here, this is just me. So there are going to be 2 types of people before I get started with this. There's going to be people who are better at pianoing from left to right, this way, and there are going to be people who are better at pianoing from right to left. Depending on what you're more used to is going to change how you want to do this, and it's the tricky part about this whole thing. But, for example, I am a right to left pianoer. I'm better at going from heavy to light. That's me. So for me, doing crouching heavy punch into Psycho Flicker is very easy. And in fact, you don't even need to piano this. I actually end up using my ring finger right here for the heavy punch, and I use my index finger for light punch, And I actually just cycle back and forth between the two for 5 button presses. And you see, I wasn't even doing it that fast. Look how slow I'm doing this. I mean, listen to the buttons. You don't even have to do it that fast. Whoops, I slipped. You don't even have to do it that fast. Now, if you have trouble going back and forth like that, you can do the piano method, which is just, for example, heavy, medium, light into heavy, medium, and it'll still come out. But the main important thing here to learn is that any button combination works, right? So if you're good at going from left to right, you can actually do crouching heavy punch. You can do heavy, light, medium, heavy, heavy. You can double tap heavy at the end, and it'll still come out. Whoops. Whoops, I did it too fast. Now see, I don't even need to do it that fast. I can actually do it much slower. Oh, I'm actually hitting these. See, this is my left to right problem. It's hard for me to separate my fingers really effectively. There you go. It's just something that you're going to have to get used to. You can even do heavy, light, medium, heavy, light. Etc., etc. So you just have to find the button combination that feels comfortable to you. If you are not the kind of player that uses all 3 fingers when you play, and let's say you mostly play by 1 finger jumping around all the buttons like this, like you're a 1-finger touch typer, then you might actually just want to use your middle finger here. Sorry, I'm flipping everybody off. And your index finger right here. And you can wrap back and forth between those two. Very easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. And you can be pretty consistent about it. And because you know you can take your time, you don't have to worry about accidentally doing psycho upper. You don't have to hit the buttons that fast next to each other. You can do it pretty slow. Basically, once you find a button combination that you're comfortable with, you can use any combination. Earlier on, I showed you that I could do heavy punch, medium, light, like so. I showed you I can do heavy, medium, light, heavy, light, etc., etc. So you can use all sorts of combinations to help you do this, and that's going to help you make sure that you're consistent with those combos so that you don't come out with psycho upper, I'm sorry. And yes, you can be totally consistent on this. Oops. Haha. There you go. And nary a psycho flicker in sight. I can do this consistently. So, if you want to, for example, combo standing medium punch into crouching heavy punch into psycho flicker, remember that crouching heavy punch is part of the psycho flicker. So all you have to do is just learn to do standing medium punch and then hit crouching heavy punch at the right timing to start the psycho flicker. There you go. 5-hit combo. Perfect. And this is for situations where, obviously you can do, and this does more damage, but if you don't know if the enemy's going to get hit and you want to do something that's safe on block, and you're not quite good at confirming, that's the safe way to do that. And man, that standing medium punch causes such a long hit reel. It's so much slower than I think it is to come out with that other button. So there you go. That's basically how you want to do heavy punches into psycho flicker. And it's not as hard as it looks. Honestly, it's not as hard as it looks if you practice this enough. It's really not that bad. Alright, so now what you guys are asking is, okay, that's all great and fine, James, but you know what? I don't play on the stick. I play on this guy right here. I play on the pad. How am I going to do all that pianoing stuff on the pad when I actually play with my thumbs? Now, if you're a claw-style player and you play like this, and you play with your hands like this, it's not as bad because you can sort of mimic some of the piano stuff. It's just awkward because heavy punch is up here on R1 right here. But even if you're a thumb player, you can do all of these psycho flicker tricks. They're going to be harder. There's no question about that. It's going to be a little more difficult, but the level of play that we have seen from so many of the top players right now who are pad players have shown that you can get through all of these. In fact, NuckleDo was a DeCapre player and he was doing hand slap combos just fine in Street Fighter 4. So let's show you guys how to do this here. Again, I'm going to start with the default buttons. This is going to be the default buttons. I'm not going to do any sort of alternate configurations. This is not how I play, but a lot of people do actually play with default buttons, so I'm just going to show you on default buttons. So square right here is light punch, triangle is medium punch, and R1 up here is heavy punch. So we were doing crouching heavy punch into Psycho Flicker, right? What's the best way to do this? I need crouching heavy punch, which is up here, which I'm going to hit with my index finger, and all these other buttons are over here. I already showed you guys that heavy punches really don't need that much time. You don't have to be that fast. And in fact, you can actually just do heavy punch, light punch, back and forth between these two fingers right here, fast enough so that you can get the Psycho Flicker out. No problem. And again, you don't even have to do it that fast. And of course, since he is the human controlled, I can't unstun him basically. So there you go. Now you are going to come out with Psycho Uppers a couple of times if you accidentally hit the buttons too close to each other. So what you want to really try to make sure you do is actually stagger the buttons really well, like so. And you know, if you practice this enough, you'll get good at it. You won't get the Psycho Flicker as much. As you can see, I can actually do it pretty consistently. And keep in mind, I am not a pad player, so. But there you go. So you can actually learn to do that, and yes, you will get a Psycho Flicker occasionally, but that's just practice. You're just going to have to practice to get good at not getting Psycho Upper by accident, not Psycho Flicker. Not Psycho Flicker, the Psycho Upper. So you just have to be careful about that. So there you go. Now, the other thing to note is that none of Ed's other buttons, like Heavy Kick or Standing Heavy Punch, I don't believe any of them are cancelable. Yeah, only Crouching Heavy Punch is cancelable, like so. So basically, Crouching Heavy Punch is the only one that you're going to have to learn how to cancel into a hand slap, into the Psycho Flicker. So that's the only one that you're going to have to worry about. And remember, joystick position doesn't matter for any of these. So after I hit with Crouching Heavy Punch, I can let go of the D-pad. I can stay holding down on the D-pad. It doesn't matter. The joystick position becomes pointless. So you can do whatever you want at that point in time. All right. So with each decreasing button strength, things get more and more difficult. So I just showed you how to do consistently heavy punches, like so. And again, I'm using all sorts of button combinations right now. And I can be pretty consistent with the whole entire thing. So the question now is medium punch. How do I cancel a medium punch? Well, in my opinion, the easiest way to cancel medium punch for pretty much any user of the joystick, even if you are a single button presser or a 3-finger across the button presser, if you just use the middle finger and the index finger on medium punch and light punch, it's really easy to do this very quickly, like that. And all I'm doing is medium punch, light punch, medium punch, light punch, medium punch. Very fast. You'd be surprised how easy this is. And again, listen to the button timing. That's the most important part right there. Because if you do that, you're not plinking anything. You're not going to come out with Psycho Upper by accident. If you just keep that rhythm in your head, da, 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 you're going to be able to do this consistently and not plink it by accident, like so. Like if you mash at it, you're going to get Psycho Flicker all day. So you're going to get Psycho Upper all day. Why do I keep calling it Flicker? I don't know. You can also overpress it. So I'm hitting 6 punches. and it's coming out. Basically, I'm not even counting 5. You can actually just, as long as you have the rhythm back and forth, you can hit him as many times as you want, and there you go. Now that doesn't combo, obviously, but just so you know, this is how you would do this. So if you want to walk up and poke with this, you can do it pretty easily. Ooh, too far. So you're going to have to worry about those ranges, but that's gameplay stuff. We're not worried about gameplay stuff. We're just worrying about execution right now. That's all we want to do. So that's the best way, in my opinion, just to do it, is just to wiggle back and forth between these other controllers. Now, on a pad, if I want to do this, I'm probably going to switch to claw here so I can do this consistently as well, just like the joystick, right? So it's just basically medium punch, light punch, medium punch, light punch, medium punch. And I'm doing it the exact same way. Now you're asking, what if I am a thumb player? What if I'm not used to doing this? What if I play it this way all the time? Well, if you play this way all the time, things get a little bit tricky. But the way that I would recommend doing it, learning it, is to do medium punch, heavy punch, medium punch, heavy punch, medium punch. So you can alternate between fingers. However, my biggest problem is that it's really uncomfortable. It's not a natural motion to me. So I actually have a lot of trouble doing this. So you may want to try this out, but if this doesn't work out for you, like you can see that I have trouble doing this. See, I have trouble getting the timing right for that. And it's very difficult for me. So what you can actually do instead is you can actually use a method known as sliding. So if you can slide your thumb back and forth between these buttons very quickly, that actually lets you do the crouching medium punch into Psycho Flicker. This is the way that I've been able to learn to do it more consistently, is the slide method here like this. So just basically go back and forth like that. As you can see, I can do it pretty consistently this way. Oops. Just take some practice. Yeah, there you go. And I can even do it while holding on to this, actually. Yeah, there you go. Okay. I actually don't need to put this down on anything because I can actually do it while holding on to the joystick to give me support. So there you go. Alright, so we've just covered how to do middle punches and heavy punches. Now, the toughest one is going to be the light punches because the hit stop is very, very small. You can see the light punch goes away very fast after you hit them. So yes, with the light buttons, you are going to have to be particularly fast. You have to be fast. So the other ones I showed you with heavy punch, you could be really slow, like so. Medium punch, you have to be a little faster. But with lights, you're going to have to be much faster. Now, lights are going to be the toughest ones because you're going to end up with potentially more psycho uppers this way by accident because you're doing it too fast. But if you can just learn to space your buttons apart, because remember, the only way to get the psycho upper is if you hit 2 buttons at the same time or only 1 frame apart. If it's 2 frames apart, you're not going to get Psycho Flicker, right? So you just have to learn this timing a little bit. And so for light punch, what I personally do is I do light punch, medium punch, heavy punch, light punch, heavy punch. It's very weird. Very, very weird. Light, medium, heavy, light, heavy. That's what I do. And I can do it pretty consistently. Now, obviously, I've had a lot of practice over the years, but you can see you can get good enough at it. You can get good at it enough that it's consistent. Now, the question is, why is this so crucial? Okay, this is actually a very, very crucial combo because if you want to hit confirm 2 lights, like so, on block, you'll be safe because it's -3. Only certain things like Akuma jab uppercuts will be able to punish you. However, you also want to hit confirm with 2 lights into a special move. So you go like so. Right? So the reason why this is important is that if you notice, 2 light punches don't combo into his towards medium punch special move. like so. Do not combo into that. 2 light punches, do not combo into up kick. You notice that that was only 2 hits and he could block in between, so I will demonstrate that to you guys just a little bit here. After first attack, he can block, right? So he blocks. So that's not a combo. Also, that's not a combo, so I shouldn't have turned that off. Oops. So literally, out of all the special moves that he has, the only one that combos after 2 lights is Psycho Flicker. That's why this is important. Stand Light Kick, which is an extremely fast button. Combos into jabs. Or a standing jab. And if you want to confirm that, you're going to have to learn how to cancel light punches into Psycho Flickers. So that's why this is important. And again, you just have to be fast with it. Now, again, you can use any button combinations you want. I use light punch, heavy punch at the end. You can do light punch, medium punch at the end, like so. But it's up to you. Whatever feels most comfortable. Learn to use a bunch of different things. You can do light punch, medium. You can do light, medium, heavy, heavy, medium if you wanted to. So you can do all sorts of things like that. And another very important point is that Psycho Flicker is cancelable into critical art. So for example, if I have the enemy down to a little bit of life and I want to do this, whoops, is it punch or kick? Punch, boom. So Psycho Flicker turns out to be a very, very important special move for him, and I can get 359 damage off of a light punch, confirm off of 2 hits, by learning how to Psycho Flicker like that. Now, off of lights. Now, if you are going to confirm 2 lights instead of 2 light punches into Psycho Flicker, like so, instead of standing light kick into Psycho Flicker, there is a little bit of a shortcut, a cheat that you can actually do. Because the button presses can actually be surprisingly slow, like so, you can actually stagger the button presses out enough that if you go light punch, medium punch, light punch, medium punch, heavy punch, the 2 light buttons will actually be the light punch chains. So I can do, whoops. Okay, yeah. There it is. God, it's so much slower than I think it is. It's so much slower. So I can actually do it like so. You see, you hear how slow I'm doing this? So that's actually a cheater way to do light punch into Psycho Flicker. You can actually just alternate between the buttons and come out that way, which is actually really, really nice. Now, back to this guy here. And this is where things become a problem, because on pad, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Doing light punch into Psycho Flicker is very hard. Is very hard for me. Like, I cannot do it consistently at all. And the best way that I found out that I've been able to do this is the slide method here. But see, I have a really hard time doing this for some reason. For some reason, medium punch sliding the other way makes more sense to me than sliding the other direction. And I actually can't do it fast enough most of the time, if you notice. It's just really hard for me to do this. So, the way that I actually do it, whoa, what the heck happened to my cape? Did you see that? My cape was like all on my chest. That was crazy. Okay. But the way that I've actually learned to do it is, if you notice, I'm really good at getting 4. I'm really good at getting light punch, light punch, medium punch. But for some reason, throwing my thumb back down to light punch is really hard. It's unintuitive to me. But doing just that, light punch, medium punch, light punch, medium punch, makes a lot of sense to me for some reason. So what I actually do is I actually learn to use the trigger up here for the 5th button press. So I've done this. Whoops. Oof. That's how I do it. I do the slide into heavy punch. So I'm able to use all 3 punch buttons that way. And that allows me to get it much more consistently. And again, that's just my idiosyncrasies, right? That's my weirdness, is that I have trouble going back to square for the 5th button press for some strange reason. I don't know why. So it's actually easier for me to go into the heavy punch at the end. So that's basically the best way that I've been able to figure out how to do the light punch one, is by using the heavy punch button up there at the top. So I can slide like this and actually get the buttons. Now, remember I talked about the slow motion version, which I can actually do like that, and just if I just do it slow enough, I get the combo. That obviously works on the pad as well, and I just use my thumb and index finger up here for the light punch and heavy punch. So if you want to just do the slow version, that works as well, so that's really effective as well. Now, there is a couple of other topics that I want to add to this. There is an alternate method to learning how to do psycho flicker combos. And instead of pianoing, there's a method that is known as sliding. Basically what I was doing on the pad with sliding these two, my thumb back and forth on these buttons, you could do on the joystick as well. So for example, if I want to do, and it's best if you turn off this button right here. Otherwise, this button will get in your way. So if you dead this button right here so it does nothing, your life is that much easier. But what you're basically doing is you just take your fingers like this and you slide it across the joystick and slide it back once you hit light punch. So what happens is you slide your fingers and you get heavy, medium, light, medium, heavy. And that actually is 5 inputs. So if I crouch and I do that, you see that it comes out with crouching heavy into psycho flicker. Now, the reason why I generally don't recommend this method is because if you notice, I was getting a lot of psycho uppers instead. Because when you slide, it's actually easier to hit 2 buttons too quickly to each other. So I personally don't like the sliding method as much. I feel like that results in psycho upper a lot easier. But if you notice, you just learn to do it pretty slowly and you can get it. But see, that's still too fast. Yeah. I'm sure if you practice this as well, you can also get this pretty consistently. You just learn the speed like this. But as a person who had music lessons in the past, it's actually just easier for me to hear the button press timing and have control over it, as opposed to the sliding method here, like this. So I actually have a lot more trouble doing the sliding method than the button press method. But that could be something that you can learn. And as you can see on light punches, that actually kind of makes it a little bit easier because you can definitely do it a little bit faster. But do it too fast and you will come out with the psycho upper. But this is an alternate method to learning how to do psycho flicker combos. Whoops, but see again, you run the danger of going too fast. Now, alright, there's one last thing I want to talk about in terms of doing psycho flicker combos. I've already talked about doing standing light punch in the psycho flicker, crouching light punch in the psycho flicker, crouching medium punch in the psycho flicker, and crouching heavy punch in the psycho flicker. Right? Now, the thing about it is, those are not his only cancelable moves. That's not cancelable, that's not cancelable, that's not cancelable. But guess what? Crouching medium kick is a cancelable button. And medium kick also has good range as well. So, do you ever want to cancel crouching medium kick into psycho flicker? Is this ever a thing? And if it is, what's the best way to do this? Because all the examples that I've given, the first button press is the first button in the cancel, right? So it's very easy to do. But now medium kick does not count. So yes, now when I hit medium kick, I have to input 5 button presses. So now I have to be even faster. So in the time that I could hit 4 button presses, like so, now I have to hit 5 button presses, and this is a medium button. It's not even a heavy. So now I need to do medium kick and then into Psycho Flicker as fast as possible. So what is the way to do this? There's a lot of different ways. One way, honestly, just be fast, right? Just be fast, which is like so. That's just, I got good at that from using Gen in Street Fighter 4. I just got used to doing it. But as you can see, because I'm trying to do it so fast, I have a habit of accidentally psycho uppering. So it's not particularly consistent. Another method is the slide method here actually works pretty decent if I actually take one finger and I do this. But if I do it too fast, again, that's the problem with the slide method. Oh, I'm so bad at that. There you go. Yeah, I'm not particularly good at consistent at slide method at all, but you can definitely do it if you just learn the general. The reason why I'm not good at this is because I don't hear and that helps me a lot. And the slide method doesn't allow you to do that, but you can definitely do the slide method and get it out. But you'll see that that comes out a lot as well. So it's a little bit tough to do that. Now, there is one more way to cheat to help you with this and kind of turn it like into a normal Psycho Flicker cancel. It does take a little bit of finger gymnastics, but it takes advantage of the priority system in this game. What's the priority system? Well, if I hit light punch and heavy, oops, actually this will be a bad example because I'm Ed. If I hit light punch and a heavy kick at the exact same time, heavy takes priority. Heavy kick takes priority. It needs to choose one of the buttons to make you do, so it always chooses the heavy kick. The reason why is because the priority of the buttons is heavy kick, heavy punch, medium kick, medium punch, light kick, light punch. So anytime I hit 2 buttons at the same time, it's always going to do the stronger version. So if I hit medium kick and heavy punch, it will always do heavy punch. Now, of course, if I hit 2 buttons that are on top of each other, I end up with V skill, I end up with V trigger, and I end up with throw. So those combinations aren't ever going to help you. Even when I'm crouching, all these commands do stuff, right? So the reason why I'm pointing this out is because you can actually use this to your advantage to perform Psycho Flicker combos. You basically turn crouching medium kick into a light punch Psycho Flicker combo. Because instead of doing medium kick and then trying to input Psycho Flicker as fast as you can, you hit these 2 buttons at the same time. You hit light punch and medium kick at the same time. And guess what? The medium kick will take priority because of the priority system. So if you can actually play this and do the finger gymnastics to do this, you can turn this start into the rest of the jab Psycho Flicker. This is easier for me. I just found this method here, which is a little bit better. Instead of pianoing here, because the problem is it's hard to piano because my thumb is in the way and it's already twisted my fingers in a weird pattern. I'm obviously very good at alternating between light punch and heavy punch. So I can actually do this by hitting light punch and medium kick and then just alternating between these 2 buttons instead. And now I can do it very consistently. Again, you see what happened here was that I know what my fingers are comfortable with. I know what my fingers in particular like to do. And going back and forth between these 2 buttons is actually something very easy for me. So it's actually going to be easiest for me to do it that way. I'm taking advantage of the priority system because I can hit medium kick and light punch at the same time as the first button press. So I'm hiding the first button press in the crouching medium kick, which gives me much more time to do the cancel. So that's how I would do crouching medium kick into Psycho Flicker. Now, again, on the pad, search me, to be honest with you. That's probably the best way I'm going to have to be able to do it, but that means I have to be really fast. Wow. So what I'm actually doing is I'm actually taking my thumb on circle for medium kick, sliding it over here, and then doing the medium slide, basically, that I was doing earlier. The finger sliding one is going to be tough for me. But, as I said, you have players like NuckleDoo who used to use the Capre, and he got really good at doing hand slap combos on the pad. So it's definitely doable. It's definitely something that's very possible. But in this particular instance, crouching medium kick into Psycho Flicker is particularly difficult for me. So, oh man. Yeah, so it's particularly difficult for me as well. But again, it's something that you're going to have to practice to get at. But crouching medium kick into Psycho Flicker, in my opinion, is not a tactic that you have to learn with Ed in order to be effective with him. Because at many ranges, it doesn't even hit. So crouching medium kick into Psycho Flicker is actually dangerous. Because you can actually just put yourself in a bad situation where it's just whiffing in front of their face for a little bit, like that. And then basically they can kill you. Or you can bait them. Anyways. But you don't, so crouching medium kick generally is not what you're going to be canceling with a Psycho Flicker. Unless you're really, really up close. Maybe, and you're trying to catch them low. So there you go. That's basically a tutorial here on how to do Ed Psycho Flicker combos without accidentally getting Psycho uppers too much. And the key to that really is just learning to understand the rhythm of the buttons that you hear. And if you can do this and see on the left side of your screen that none of the inputs are overlapping, that there's only one button press per line, then you should be able to do your combos pretty consistently. If you just remember that timing. Etc., etc. And you can actually do this pretty consistently. One of the main reasons why I wanted to do this tutorial was because I was reading a lot from people online saying that they couldn't do this without getting Psycho Upper every single time. So I just wanted to show that it is possible to do it consistently, not only to do it consistently, but to show just how slow you can hit the buttons. You actually don't have to do like as fast as you can. You can actually hear the timing in there. So there you have it. That is the Ed Flicker Punch, the Psycho Flicker tutorial to help people who have not had any experience doing rapid fire special moves, you know, Honda hand slap type moves in the past. But they really want to play Ed, and they really, really want to learn this character, and they're having trouble implementing the Psycho Flicker into their game. Hope this helped, and if you like this, definitely subscribe to our channel. Once again, it's youtube.com/ultrachentv. Also, check out my stream at twitch.tv/jchensor and twitch.tv/ultrachentv, where I do a lot of tutorials live, and I also play matches online, and you can watch, and I do a lot of educational material for fighting games on that Twitch channel. Thanks guys, and peace out.